audibletrial.com/talkitout. Sign up for over 1,800 different audiobooks. You can listen to them, all different range of topics and things like that. And you get one free audiobook download. Sign up now, audibletrial.com/talkitout. So this is Gabby,
Katie,
and this is Joy.
And today our topic is going to be feminism part 2. Our first feminism episode was very, very, very popular. And remember, we promised we were going to come out with a part 2. And I think that this week it's fitting to continue that episode. So in this episode, we're going to focus a little bit more on hypermasculinity, like we touched on in our last episode, and how hypermasculinity shows itself in society, and how we address it as a society. So first, I kind of want to define what hypermasculinity is, and as far as just my definition of hypermasculinity. Hypermasculinity is kind of like pretty much masculinity on steroids. So everything that masculinity is, it goes to the extreme. So we know masculinity, like normally when you think of it, you think of, well, a masculine person is strong and assertive and a leader and all these things. But hypermasculinity is, it puts you into a box, so that not only do you have to be strong, but you have to be stronger than everyone else, and you have to assert your dominance over people, and you have to pretty much treat people like crap in order to be seen as the alpha masculine male or whatever. So just as far as it's seen in society, one thing I want to bring up, which I've seen a lot of articles and stuff about this, but I don't think people have really tied it to hypermasculinity that much. First, we're going to talk about the evil orange man who is running for president, and we know that he released some tapes. You know what he said. We don't have to repeat that. But I want to tie that into hypermasculinity and the fact that
he feel like he can say it. I'm sorry.
Not even that, but hypermasculinity also thinks that men or masculine people have autonomy over women's bodies. So when Donald Trump says something like, well, I'm rich, and when I get to girls and they look pretty, I just start kissing them. I don't even care. I just start kissing them, and I can touch them and grab them because I'm masculine and I'm rich and I'm a man, so I can do that. So KT,
let him have been a rich black man, he would have got thrown in jail.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
I think. But KT, have you seen this?
I heard the tapes. I feel like it does have a little bit to do with what you're saying. I think a lot of it playing into hypermasculinity is that men, like you were saying, in order to feel like they belong in society, or in order to feel like they are masculine or they are labeled a man, is they have to like kind of degrade women. Mm-hmm. Like in all types of ways. Like they always have to degrade women, and they have to be like, women belong in the kitchen and blah, 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 blah. In order to feel masculine in society, you must put down the feminine notion or the feminine people, regardless if it's feminine gay men or feminine women, or if it's just femininity, period. If you are going to be masculine, you have to put down femininity, kind of like Young and May.
Anyway, she got this song called "Ooh," and they play it on the popular radio station.
Yeah,
how it go?
We'll have to.
I don't know. We have to play it for you. But it's like she says a lot of sexist things, and I feel like if she didn't say a lot of sexist things, then she wouldn't be labeled. She wouldn't have gotten to where she is.
Right. In order, it's like any system. Like with black people trying to get into the white system, you have to assimilate, and you gotta be like how they are. In order for her, a masculine female rapper, to make it into the game, she had to but she doesn't have to. But the
The
only reason that
game.
she's as big as she is because she assimilated. So
Right.
all those sexist, misogynist themes, she's saying it. All the gang banging and the murder and the violence and all that promiscuity. she encourages that, and since that's kind of the main theme of hip hop at the moment, that's why she's accepted. But back to Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, I kind of went off, but yeah, no, Donald Trump, he definitely has gotten where he is because of hypermasculinity. Like, Joy was saying, you know, or what we were saying, like, previously, he basically is able to say all these things because we live in a culture that thinks that that's okay to talk about women that way.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's okay to talk about women that way, then Donald Trump is still going to get votes.
That's true. What do you think, Joy?
I think, first of all, let me give you the definition of hypermasculinity, because you touched on it, but this is the actual factual Wikipedia definition. Hypermasculinity is a psychological term for the exaggeration of male stereotypical behavior, such as an emphasis on physical strength, aggression, and sexuality. And I think that Donald Trump is the most hypermasculine male I have ever seen in my life. Like, I've seen masculinity, and I've seen okay, really, did he really have to do all of that? And I feel like he's more hypermasculine than the wrestlers who are, like, you know what I mean? Wrestlers, you know? And I just feel so disappointed that he is the way he is, because, like, my cousin knows what he said on the bus. Now, we've taught him not to say those type of things and what those type of things mean, and that it's disrespectful towards women. And, you know, his mother is a woman. And if you're
Everybody's mom is a woman.
well, that's what I'm saying. But if you can talk that way about one person, then what are you actually teaching your sons to say about your wife?
Oh, yeah. Something I do want to bring up is about Donald Trump. Not only are there those tapes, but now we've had accusers and stuff coming out and saying, for instance, the most disgusting one that I've heard, and the one that he's admitted to, was, you know, he did Miss Teen USA, and those are all teenagers, and he would walk in on the teenage girls getting dressed in the dressing room. Which one it is, but I know he does have a sexual assault case coming up. I think this week.
God, the maybe future president has a assault case coming up. Had Donald Trump been anybody else, he would not been able to run.
That's true, but I think also back to the hypermasculinity, like his main core base is Southern white men
who want to go back to the 1943.
Yes, and they're also, their thing with Donald Trump is he speaks his mind. He's not afraid. He's strong. He's assertive. Hypermasculine traits, and a lot of the times that's why they are so forgiving of these sexual assault things and these terrible sexist things that he's saying, because in their mind,
they want to say
I'm an alpha male, so I can say whatever I want. These women are just here for my sexual and visual pleasure, so I can talk about them however I want, and I can touch them however I want, yada yada yada. What do you think, KT?
I think the reason why he's so popular, and I don't think he's as much as popular as he was at the beginning with women. At the beginning, a lot of white women were like, yeah, Donald Trump. Now that all this is coming out, I think that a lot of women are kind of backing off. Mm-hmm. But with white men specifically, I feel like white men, they've always been put into this box anyway, because they are oppressors. I think because of a lot of white men, you know, they have always been put on a pedestal anyway. And so Donald Trump has this superiority. I can't say the word, but he kind of has like this thing about him that he thinks he's better than everyone. And that in itself like plays into being hypermasculine. Like you are so extreme. Like I said, you have to talk bad about women and you have to put down femininity in its own, like as just that in itself is just him being hypermasculine.
His presence brings
just
out,
himself.
His presence brings out like his running for president. It brings out like all these, not even these people, especially these white men who want to say all of these things out loud, but only say them in their heads. And they're like, oh, okay, well, he's saying it. This is who I'm going to vote for because he's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy that I used to work with, he's white, and as everybody knows, I'm black. And he tried to, I don't know if it was nervousness or what, but he came and we both like sat down at a fast food joint and ate our lunch on our break. Next thing I know, he's kind of hitting on me but kind of not, and then we have a conversation, and I don't know why or how we got to this, but he started talking about, are you left wing or right wing, and I don't believe that I told him I went to school on a scholarship. How about out of the blue he starts saying, oh, well, I didn't get a scholarship because all the black people got them. Ooh. And I'm just like,
now that is racism.
I said, huh? I'm like, what? He's like, but no, not that black people don't deserve it. It's just like, me being a white guy, it's harder for me to get in school than a black guy. I said, huh? What?
You wish.
And he was like,
white people think there's all these African American scholarships that we're just out here getting. Like, you know how many African?
If that was the case, I would love to have had an African American scholarship.
Girl, all of us would be in school with debt free. All of us get debt. So what's the thing?
I know, but that was like crazy. It was so out of the blue because it was so weird. He didn't talk to me ever again after that because he embarrassed himself, and it was like ridiculous. How did it go from trying to hit on me to but it just expressed his true feelings in a way that he didn't necessarily mean to come across as, but because I feel like he was racially insensitive, because with certain people, they don't know. Even black people can be racially insensitive because we don't know anything outside of our own communities. And I feel like Donald Trump, he doesn't just live in his own community, he live in his own world. I mean, if you have that kind of money and basically you are, how old is he? Like,
I have no idea.
98,000 years old?
Probably like 60 something.
Okay, well, when you get a certain age, you're everybody knows that when you get a certain age, you really don't care what you say anymore, right? Most people. And that's why I can't wait to be old. But I just feel like he's at that age where he doesn't really care what he has to say. He's rich, so there shall be no repercussions for him. And this is the man that you want to run for president, somebody who is a racist. Well, I'm not going to call him a racist, but somebody who has said racist remarks, who is accused of assaulting a woman, who insults women. I said assault and insults. Those are two different things, by the way. Who insults women, not just privately, but publicly as well. So imagine if he's insulting these women, how he must feel about his wife and his daughter.
Something else I want to talk about, which is something that I've noticed, is, so we talked about young M.A. and how she is a masculine presenting female rapper. I also want to talk about how sometimes society does allow feminine presenting men to become successful in entertainment, like aka a Prince or David Bowie or a Young Thug. But something that I want to something that I've noticed is, even when you talk about a Prince, now he is beloved by everybody, pretty much, or he was beloved by everybody. But something that I noticed was, yes, he was feminine in the way he dressed.
Who?
And
Prince.
Oh.
Stop saying "who" every 2 seconds.
I'm sorry. You said
Google
thug.
it.
You said Young Thug, and I was like, who?
Oh, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Prince.
I'm sorry, Gabby.
Was feminine in the way that he dressed and the way that he presented himself sometimes, but he too also, regardless of the outward appearance thing, everywhere else he still kind of exuded that hyper masculinity, in the fact that even though he dressed a certain way, he still touted and talked about how much sex he was having with all these women.
Yep.
And it was still like a power thing, and it was still like I'm more masculine than you, even though I have this on, because I'm getting women and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I just kind of want to bring it to, even then, like, even people that you think are what do you say, liberated from the confines of masculinity, even how then it sometimes pulls them back in, even like a Young Thug, you know, his album cover, he had a dress on or whatever,
But that was for publicity.
but
though.
all of his songs were still the same: money, clothes, I got women, I'm having sex with your girl, I'm doing this and I'm doing, it's the same thing. So my question is, can we ever live in a society where men are not in this box anymore, in this tight box of masculinity, where they always have to prove their macho-ness and prove their sexual prowess?
Now, do
or
you
whatever.
mean hyper masculinity or just masculinity? Period. Masculinity.
I think masculinity at this point, all of it is hyper masculinity, and the fact that even like a child, like I was talking about, that 4-year-old boy, his grandma wouldn't even let him cry. She was telling him to man up, and they got 5-year-olds and stuff. They don't want to give their friends that are boys a hug because that's gay.
They think it's gay,
or
yeah.
they don't want to, or their parents are already talking about how they finna get girlfriends, and they already talking about getting girlfriends and how they got more girlfriends than you. Like it's even that young. It's a box, and if they see somebody kind of straying from that box, I've seen. Just 4-year-olds, if they see a boy giving another boy a hug, ew, you ain't supposed to give boys a hug.
Well, I heard kids say that, but I haven't heard like an adult say that.
You haven't heard,
But it plays into
they
it.
don't have to say that. When's the last time you seen 2 guy friends give each other a real?
Actually, I have seen
My daddy
adults say that.
hug.
Do you guys remember when what was the 2 black men on the front of the cover, and they were really close to each other?
Oh yeah, Ray Shrimmer.
Yes.
Ray who?
Shrimmer, the 2 rappers.
Yes, they had
And
them
they're
on
brothers,
the front.
yeah.
And they were basically like, they had no tops on, and they were like real close together, and people were like, "Oh, that's gay, that's gay, that's gay, that's gay." Like, I see that all over my feed all the time.
That boy who was laying on his father. They were laying. His father was laying down. He was laying on his father, saying, "Even now, I still love my dad," or something like that.
Yep.
And, ooh, that's gay. Ooh, they over here having sex. That's his daddy.
Well, they said the same thing about the white man in the tub with his daughter.
Yeah, but I don't think that plays into hypermasculinity.
But I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of the same thing.
No, because with that, it's just people are real paranoid about sexual predators or whatever.
Okay.
We're talking about as far as men showing platonic affection
I
with
agree
other
to a
men.
point. I
to
agree
other
to a
men.
point.
And so I'm saying, can we ever live in a world where that is okay, where it's okay to give your best friend a hug or call somebody? So I heard somebody one time say, men don't have best friends. That's gay. We don't have no best friends. They just
What's the difference between
they just my
ignorant people
acquaintance.
and people who really
No, I'm saying I'm just saying, as far as just society in general. Like, I go back to the hugging thing. Not family, a friend. When is the last time you've seen a teenage boy or man give another man a real hug, not a dabbing up hug,
Or a
trying
handshake.
to be macho, trying to be cool? You know, when's the last time you seen that? Women do it all the time.
Oh, but that's a good point. You say women do it all the time, but there's this girl that I work with, and like I kind of I told her, because every time she would compliment another woman, she would always say "no homo." Like every single time she would compliment someone, but no homo. And I was like, there's no point in you saying that. Like, I told her, I was like, what's the point in you saying that if you're not gay? Like, it would be gay if you were doing things with them, but by you complimenting someone, that's not really like no homo. It's okay to compliment each other.
I compliment people all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Strangers. I be like, girl, you know you pretty.
You don't have to be like no homo. Like, obviously, I'm not gay.
Phase, I think it was a phase. At least it was in my school and my circle. Everybody that I knew were saying no homo. Like, it had reached the grandmamas and granddaddies. Like, everybody that I knew, they was like, no homo son, or no homo boy, or man, no, you know what I mean? Everybody was saying it at one point. I haven't heard that.
They say like pause.
Huh?
They say pause now. Like, they say pause.
What?
But
okay,
because I remember I ain't gonna call them out or something, but I heard a podcast from one of our fellow podcasters, and they were talking about Luke Cage, and the guy was like,
"Oh, I love
the
that
girl
guy.
was like, Luke Cage, he fine or whatever,
Ooh.
and then the man was like, well, you know, as a man, I can't really say nothing, but I will say that he has very nice skin or something like that.
I think
And he was like,
so
well,
awkward.
as far as masculinity in this society, I really can't comment on this man's appearance.
Okay, well, let me say this. I think,
Like, you don't have to say all that.
do I think that it's a problem with how we raise men? Yeah, I do think raising men to be unemotional is not a good thing, because then they become misogynistic and sexist, and
That's what we're talking
all
about.
of those things. But I believe a boy can cry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I believe that it shows emotional growth to let them express themselves, because if they can't, then they wind up in jail. But I also think, and I don't think it's wrong with giving another guy a hug. If you're friends, give him a hug. I mean, you shouldn't be walking up giving strangers hugs. That's weird.
You shouldn't do that no matter who you are. You know?
But I feel like if you're best friends or your brothers, ain't nothing wrong with giving your brother a hug or giving your best friend a hug. Like, man, you been out of town. Man, get over here. I missed you, bro. I don't feel like that's anything wrong with that. But at the same time, y'all gonna be mad at me.
Okay.
I feel like a little masculinity is sexy. Like, I don't need nobody.
Well, we're not saying masculinity is
bad.
Is bad. We're just saying.
Well, that's what I was asking you. You said get rid of this whole masculinity.
No, I'm saying get rid of the box. The box, and that you can't divert any way from it, or your manhood is called into a question.
Raised to be emotionally communicative.
Like Gabby explained to me earlier, masculinity and femininity are definite terms, but masculinity, the problem comes when we have people who think that masculinity is just this and femininity is just this.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
That's where the issue comes in.
Masculinity is its thing. It has a definition.
Yeah.
It is a thing. Femininity is a thing and has a definition. The problem comes when we say, well, you are a man, so you must act this way. You are a woman, you must act this way, and you put people into boxes. That was my
I think
thing.
you should be who you are. That's fine. But at the same time, I do think, as a guy, to be perfectly honest, with my cousins at my house, and how we're we're taking care of them for a little while, and I think that I'm just be honest.
Okay.
My cousin came home and he was talking about something about fill his bucket up, or like they have like true buckets or like friendship buckets or something at school. If like you do something nice and a person bucket is filled up, and everybody wants to have a filled bucket. That's cute and that's nice, but he didn't explain that when he was telling me, I'm gonna give this guy this guy a bucket, this guy a drawing. I said, is he gonna pay for it? He said, no, I'm gonna do it for his bucket, make him feel better. I was like, no, he said I'm gonna do it for his bucket. I was like, so why are you giving him this drawing? He's like, because I want to, because I want to. I mean, it was a nice thing, but the way he said it, I was like, oh, y'all need to be giving that little boy no drawing. What you mean giving him a drawing for? And
problematic.
it was problematic. I was like, what? And I even had to hold on. I was like, hold on, man. What is? I had to come and ask his brother, like, what is he talking about? Then he had to sit down and explain, no, it's his bucket. Everybody got a bucket, and we all have to fill it up. Fill up different people's buckets. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's okay. But just don't be going and giving drawings out to little boys like that.
Can I just ask something? Like, this is completely off topic, but if he did give a drawing to another boy, would you just automatically assume he was gay because he did that? Because that does kind of play into hypermasculinity.
I wouldn't. He's not gay.
No, because it plays into it, because it's like it would be okay if he did it for a female, but or for a girl, a little child girl, but if he did it for a male, oh my God. And that kind of is what we're talking about. Like, we don't want it to be like this big thing if a little kid wants to go and give another little kid a hug or give another little kid a drawing.
I think that's how you teach kids. Like, if kids learn about what they see and what they do, and if you're telling your son that it's okay to just, it's not go around being nice. There's nothing wrong with going around being nice, but it is a problem in my household. If you're going around giving little boys a gift,
I'm saying, okay, let's say this was a little girl, and she had a friend that was a girl, and she wanted to give her friend a nice little cute little drawing. Would you have a problem?
Yeah.
You never gave your other friend.
I ain't have no friends, so I don't know how to act.
So maybe that's the problem.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
But because in elementary school, we used to give everybody drawing. Anybody was your friend?
I didn't have no friends, and all my friends were guys.
Well, then that explains it. Anyway.
Okay. Well, now we got some. But
so y'all saying something wrong with me?
No,
I'm just saying it's this common in elementary school. You drew everybody a drawing. If they were your friend, y'all drew little funny little cartoon drawings.
I get that, but I'm saying though, it's the way he explained it. It's the way he explained it. Beautiful, baby. It's the way he explained it, and I get it, but it's just the way he explained it. And I was like, now you got to be careful because it has been incidents in schools where these kids see something or something's done to them, and then they go home and then they go to school and act it out. And of course, he was not about to be nobody's act out partner. That's what I had to say.
All right. So, how did we even get on this topic? We were talking about how hypermasculinity puts you in a box. And we were talking about how boys are not able to show affection to other boys, platonic affection, without it being seen as suspected. Ooh, something's wrong with him, or he got his sugar in his whatever, or this or that. So, going back to my question, somebody answer it. Will we ever live in a society where men are allowed to be emotional, complete human beings that are able to show affection to other men, to be able to give hugs and be caring and nurturing, and that is supported in this world?
No.
Yes, I believe so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I don't think it will, but I think
not
it's
in our time. Not in our time, I don't think. For the sole fact that it is so ingrained into society.
Well, so was slavery, but we got over that.
No, we ain't.
Not really.
Well,
it is
the
so
initial act of it
ingrained in society. So ingrained into society is that everything that we do plays upon hypermasculinity. It plays upon the patriarchy. Like, literally everything has to do with male, masculine dominance.
And it's crazy, like, go back to Prince, but like back in the day when men would wear like stockings and heels and wigs, it was still hyper masculine. They would still be over there dogging women and thinking they were better than them and showing off their macho-ness even with that. So it's not the clothes or the appearance.
I think it's a difference between being masculine and being hyper masculine jerk. Like, it's nothing wrong with being masculine or feminine or whoever you are, but I do think it's a problem when you think that this is all you have to be. Like, just because you're strong doesn't mean you can't be weak too. Or when I say weak, like emotionally vulnerable. Just because you rich don't mean you can't understand, be sympathetic to poor people's problems. Just because you're whatever doesn't mean you can't understand the opposite or try to be empathetic to people. And I think that we as people, especially mothers and fathers, we have to realize that we can't raise our kids to be we can't raise our girls to be dumb and dependent on men, and we can't raise our boys to be misogynistic buttholes.
I agree.
That's the problem. But I don't think there's anything wrong with showing the affection to with kids showing affection to each other, because I think the whole world should show affection to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
yeah, I agree. What?
I agree. But I just kind of want to go back to what Joy was saying previously.
She's trying to bust me out.
Yeah,
but that ain't gonna happen.
Because you did have a problem with it.
I did. It's no lie.
That's what I'm saying, though. So you're contradicting yourself. You're saying now that it's not an issue.
It's
but
not
you
an issue
did
to
have an
be
issue
nice.
with it.
It's not an issue to be nice,
Right.
and caring. But it's an issue if the little boy was liking my cousin, as in more than a friend type of way, because of what he's seen or whatever happened. It was an issue if that was the case. It was an issue. But we know that that's not the case.
Okay. Let's bring this to
You mad?
the Nate Parker situation and how hypermasculinity plays into this. Because not only I don't want to talk too much about the rape, but I want to talk about
Trigger
the
warning.
movie that came. Trigger warning. I want to talk about the movie that came out, Birth of a Nation, and how during this whole marketing campaign, women have, and some men too, I'll give the men props. I mean, women and men have been outraged about these allegations and about how Nate Parker has addressed the allegations. And when the movie came out, it did not do as well as they thought it would, because I think partly because people were disgusted, and also because white people didn't want to see it. But
Well, yeah, it came out on the same day as what?
it didn't come out on the same day.
Yes, it did. It came out on the same day as something else.
What?
I don't know, but let me see. Y'all go talk while I look this up.
How's that even relevant?
Because it is. It's relevant.
But I want to talk about how now that the movie has not done as well, even though majority of the people that went to see the movie were black women, I want to talk about how now they're blaming black women on this movie's failure.
On this movie's failure.
And
Well, I can agree with that because of his rape allegation. I wouldn't have went to see it either, but I just haven't seen it yet, and I just learned about this allegation today because I'm not as hip as other people are with the internet and stuff. But y'all, like I told y'all before, my moment is like being crashed down as we talk about this every time we do, because I love. Like, I wasn't a big fan, but anything he did was really good.
Yeah.
Like, his acting was superb to me. And I just feel like I feel like he was an example to black, young men. And now he's just been gone and ruined it.
I mean, yeah. So, I want to bring it back to this people dogging black women, especially Roland Martin, who I really like. He's a political commentator, but he's kind of been dogging black women for not going to see this movie. And I'm trying to see, like, what they want us to forget or cast these rape allegations to the side and go support this movie just because it's got black people in it. But let it been like, a movie with some women and we were like, come on y'all, let's go support this movie, and they'll be like, nah, it's got that white lady up in there, she said some racist stuff, so we can't go to see this movie. Like, black women are always required to put their feelings to the side to help the greater good, which is pretty much just uplifting black men. And I kind of want to go back to the hypermasculinity in the sense that men think they are the leaders of the movement just because they're men, and they get to tell people what to do and how to feel and how to go about in the movement. And I kind of want to talk about that, just about the current black movement and how it kind of silences women's voices and doesn't really give voice to them.
You're right. Even though the movement was started by black women, nobody really knows that, but it was. And I feel like if that is the case, it's because women have a stigma out there against them. Everybody knows that. Even white women have a stigma. Everybody is put on a pedestal with the white man on top. And even black men will be listened to more over a black woman.
Yeah.
Especially now, that's in our communities. Now, if we want to go to a global level, we have to have somebody, maybe both. You know what I mean? But I feel like women do this. I hate to say this, and I do. It's gonna be so much backlash, but
always.
But I feel like women, we do this to ourselves because we as women, we don't support each other as much as we want to. A lot of, well, at least in my community, a lot, not just black. I'm not talking about just my black community. I'm talking about in the world, in my life, in the world that I have lived, black, white, Chinese, Japanese, Hispanic, whatever it has been, women have not supported each other like we're supposed to. Yeah, like, because that's what I've seen. Like, girls be like, "Oh, huh, okay, yeah." When the guy says something, but when the girl says something, they want to argue and be like, "No, I don't think this is right." And
because it's like they feel like they're on an equal playing field with the woman, but they think the man is like above
superior.
them. Yeah,
and it's not the case.
I kind of want to add to this because in my work environment, women are more dominant. We have like no male supervisors. We probably have like 2 male supervisors. Of all the supervisors that I've worked with, there's probably 2. And I don't think that's it at all. Like, women are so supportive there. Like, literally, we take care of each other. We love each other. Them women that I work with are literally like my family. If I needed anything, I know that I could text them, I could message them on Facebook, and I could be like, hey, I need this, and they would be like, okay, Caitlin, I got you. Like, we don't talk outside work, but I know that if I did that, they would be okay with that, and if they did that to me, I could come back to them. So I don't think, maybe in your classroom,
that's because there's no men there?
No, I don't, because there are a few men there, but I feel like, you know, even when a man is in that situation, we don't argue. Like, a lot of people say, women are drama, women always do this, and they want to hurt each other, and blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's really not that dynamic at my work at all. Like, all we have is mainly women, and we are literally so happy together. I mean, obviously, there are little, like, petty things that's going to happen at every workplace. But when it comes down to it, it's not like us being women plays into drama, or that, you know, we argue all the time, or we're catty, or we don't like to listen to each other, because above all else, we respect each other, especially our women supervisors. We respect them more than the male supervisors, probably. So I don't feel like that's correct. I mean, maybe it's because that was in your school and, you know, that environment, it was like that.
And I also think it has to do with, I hate that everything in life comes back to this, but it has to do, I also think that maybe it's also a cultural difference, because I have noticed that say for instance in my classrooms, when people of the same background get together, they treat each other more equally than when people of a diverse background get together.
Oh, I actually can revert back to that
Cool.
too, because my group that I hang out with are all black women. Like every single one of them. I don't hang out with any white women at all.
Racist.
Right, I'm racist against white people, but
She jokes.
they literally, like, I don't think that's true at all. Like, a lot of them, I can't share experiences because they've been through obviously different things that I have, and they experience different things every day that I have, but I still support them, and they still support me and uplift me. Like, for instance, this is really, really small, but I think it's important. I'm a vegetarian, and we had a potluck, and the only people who ever like, you guys make sure you bring some for Caitlin, was those women. And so it was like they are always uplifting. I don't know. I just feel like maybe it was your school, or maybe that's the experience that you've had as a black woman yourself, and compared to mine, which could play into that too. I don't know.
Yeah, but I not to take your experience for granted, but you know what I'm saying. I think it has to do with who you are and what your experiences is. In my experience, I tend to get along with most people. There are certain people who find me to be a little me, or because I can come across as, I don't know, what's a good word for it? I'm not aggressive. I'm not aggressive, right? Not aggressive.
Passionate.
Huh?
Passionate.
Not even passionate, but like when we're doing,
passionate.
huh?
I say you are passionate.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm a passionate, but when we're like in like a friend environment, when we're like in a friend and we're in class and we're getting ready to do stuff or whatever, I can be a little, I don't know. I can just be me, you guys.
Okay.
I can be me.
Okay.
Yeah. But back to what we were talking about.
We were talking about something totally different. But let's just end it on the Nate Parker thing, because I really didn't talk about his whole case and how it's split up, like women and men, like in the court of public opinion. When these allegations first came out, I read some horrible things from men.
About Nate Parker or
about women, and about how they can see how Nate Parker was set up because they've been in these situations, not where they were accused of rape, but where the women were just so easy and threw themselves at them and were drunk, and they do whatever, and then they get with them, and then the next day they'll be like, you trigger warning, raped me or whatever. And they pretty much, the way they were describing it, they pretty much did. Yeah. But they thought in their minds, well, I didn't have any malintent. AKA, I wasn't thinking I was raping her, even though the girl was passed out. Yeah. And I think that if we bring it all the way back to the hypermasculinity thing, I think that plays into it, because if we talk about how men in this society, if they ascribe to hypermasculinity, think they have autonomy and ownership over women's bodies. Even if a body is lifeless on the bed, they think they have the right to do what they want to do to the woman just because they are a man and just because she is there.
Or just because she's drunk. Being drunk is not giving permission.
At all.
And I feel like people who, okay, y'all know I love television. I'm not a big internet news person, but I do like TV and Netflix. And I was catching up on Netflix, watching my Switch Their Birth. And for those people who do know Switch Their Birth, it's a good ABC Family show, or whatever they calling it now. But it was an episode where this guy liked one of the main characters, and the main character, Bae, and she told him, I really don't like you like they went out, but then I was like, I don't really like you like that, and it's best that I really just like you as a friend. And she went to a party after she broke up with her, or her boyfriend dumped her or whatever. She went to a party, and next thing you know, she got wasted, and the friend was there, who she told that she just likes as a friend.
Yeah.
And he was there, and he got wasted with her. Next thing you know, they end up back in their bed, and he was not as wasted as she was. Let's get that clear, because, you know, guys can handle much more alcohol than women can. Scientifically proven. But he was like, he had a few, but she had a few too many.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're back in his room, and he's like, is it okay? And she's like, out, but not saying anything. But she's, you know, regardless of whether she said yes or no, she was raped because she didn't remember a thing. She woke up and she didn't know where she was. She didn't remember anything. And when she said, I don't remember what happened, like, did we? And he's like, yeah, don't you remember? And she's like, no, I don't. And she's like, well, why would you do that? You know that I didn't want to do that with you. And he's like, but you said yes. He's like, I thought it was okay. She said, did I say yes? He's like, you never said no, but you're drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's no excuse. I do feel that when sometimes women get misconstrued, and because I know what my mom even said, well, that's her fault. You know, she's so-and-so, so-and-so. But I feel like what she's saying is she's a woman. She has to watch out for herself. And she has to be aware of her situations. You can go out and you can have fun. You can drink. But you have to be cautious. And you have to bring a friend. And I mean,
you have to be cautious, but it's never your fault.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think, well, you know, an older generation, they ain't got time for that. But you know what I mean. I feel like women need to watch out for ourselves. But at the same time, we need to force these men to understand that just because you're a man and just because she's drunk does not give you the right to say, hey, I'm going to do this to her. Or, hey, this is what I want, so I'm going to take it. She's drunk anyway. She's not going to remember. Wrong. Yes. First of all, if she did remember, that stuck with her for life. Secondly, somebody is always watching you, and for those of you who do believe in God, his eye is always on y'all, so y'all better think about that. And if for y'all who don't believe in God, the universe is watching. How about that for your tea?
Oh my God.
How you like that, sugar?
Dun, dun, dun.
But yeah, you spoke the truth. That is all very, very, very true. And I think we as a people, we're going to do our sex ed episode one of these days, but I think consent is very, very important to teach boys or girls, anybody.
Both.
Consent is very, very important because anybody can be the perpetrator. But especially, I've seen this. I always go back to my kiddos, but there is this one girl in the class. They're all four. There's this one girl in the class, and all the boys like her. And
I know, right?
You know, they try to get beside her and stand beside her. That's nothing. I don't stop nothing like that. But what I do stop is when sometimes they be trying to get her hand and try to drag her and make them go where they want to go, and she's clearly doesn't want to do it. And you know, and also when I saw this one boy and he was like trying to give the girl a kiss. I'm like, did the girl say we don't kiss nowhere? You ain't supposed to be giving nobody a kiss. Like, what are you doing? And trying to force the girl to hug them and all types of stuff. I'm like, we don't do that. So you have to teach consent. I think that's very important. What do you think, KT?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with y'all. Of course you got to teach consent. Of course. 100%.
That was
Feminism 2.
Our second part. So there's more things. I mean, feminism is so broad.
We can
go on there for on and on. We'll have about 20 episodes, different parts of this. But we hope you enjoyed this. We really enjoyed this conversation. It was very informative, and we hope you learned a lot. So yeah.
I got something to say. Don't forget to visit audibletrial.com/Shoutout because yo, guys, I got this great Halloween book on there, and it is so funny / kitty scary. Yeah, because you know that's all I read now is kid books. But it's so funny, and Like, even I laughed. I had a good time with it. Go check it out.
I agree. Check it out. Check it out. audibletrial.com/talk it out. And don't forget to hit us up at Talk It Out Podcast at yahoo.com. Facebook.com/Talk It Out Podcast. Instagram.com/Talk It Out Podcast. And
just talk it out with us.
Just
Send
talk it
us
out.
Comments, questions, concerns.
Shout out to Mr. Carl Brandon. He's always giving us great constructive criticism and always leaving good comments. And shout out to the Conversation Con Artist, to John Effect Podcast, to Kenya Says, Drama Dupree, who shouted us out and gave us a lot of followers a week back.
Yes.
To the Wind Down, to Woke with Kids, who helped us meet Carl, and just anybody else I can't remember. You know I love you, and
you know I love you, Boston.
We love you.
This is Gabby,
Katie,
and this is Joy,
and this is Talk It Out.
Talk It Out.